Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Timeless Talks. Who is his Siri? I'm your host David Lee, here to bring you an extraordinary conversation with one of history's most revered figures, Abraham Lincoln. Today, we delve deep into the life and legacy of this iconic leader, seeking to uncover the many facets that made him the extraordinary person he was. Get ready for a thought-provoking discussion as we explore Abraham Lincoln's past, motivations, discoveries, contributions, and even some of the controversies that surrounded him. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Mr. Lincoln, throughout your life, you faced numerous challenges and obstacles. Could you please introduce yourself to our audience? Can you take us back to your early years and share with us a defining moment or experience that shaped your character?
Well, thank you, David, for that introduction, and greetings to all the viewers of Timeless Talks. I am Abraham Lincoln, born on February 12, 1809, in a humble log cabin in Hodgenville, Kentucky. My childhood was spent in the frontier regions of Kentucky and Indiana, where I experienced the hardships and challenges that come with such a life. As I grew older, I dedicated myself to education, reading every book I could get my hands on. My thirst for knowledge led me to become a lawyer, and eventually, I entered the world of politics. I served in the Illinois state legislature and later represented Illinois in the United States House of Representatives. But it was during my presidency, from 1861 to 1865, that I faced the greatest test of my life and the nation as a whole. The Civil War, a conflict that tore our country apart, demanded great resolve and steadfast leadership. It was a time of immense challenge and immense responsibility. Throughout my journey, I witnessed the struggles and sufferings of my fellow citizens, especially those who were enslaved. The fight against slavery became a driving force in my life, and I dedicated myself to the preservation of the Union and the pursuit of freedom for all. My early years were marked by hardships and challenges that played a significant role in shaping the person I would become. One defining moment that stands out to me occurred when I was just 9 years old. At that tender age, I lost my mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln. Her passing left a profound impact on me, forcing me to confront the fragility of life and the harsh realities of mortality at such a young age. It was a moment that instilled in me a deep sense of empathy and a heightened awareness of the preciousness of time. Growing up in a frontier environment, I experienced firsthand the struggles and toils of rural life. The scarcity of resources, the constant threat of illness, and the untamed nature of the land taught me the importance of resilience and perseverance. These early hardships forged within me a steadfast determination to overcome adversity and seek a better future. As I reflect on those formative years, I am reminded of a quote that has resonated with me throughout my life. I will prepare and someday my chance will come. It speaks to the resilience and perseverance that guided my journey and led me to become the leader I was destined to be. So, David, that defining moment, along with the hardships I faced during my youth, played an integral role in shaping my character, instilling within me the values of empathy, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of justice. Now, as we embark on this conversation, I hope to shed light on the experiences and insights that shaped my character, the motivations that guided my decisions, and the lessons we can draw from the past to shape a better future. I'm honored to be here today, and I look forward to engaging in this thought-provoking discussion with you.
As a renowned advocate for abolishing slavery, you played a pivotal role in shaping the course of American history. Could you shed some light on what motivated you to take such a strong stance against this institution?
The abolition of slavery was indeed a cause that held immense significance for me, and it stemmed from a combination of personal beliefs, moral convictions, and a deep sense of justice. From a young age, I was exposed to the inherent injustice and cruelty of slavery. Witnessing the plight of enslaved individuals and hearing their stories deeply affected me, and it ignited a fire within me to fight for their liberation and the principle that all men are created equal. My own experiences with poverty and adversity also shaped my perspective on the human condition. I understood firsthand what it meant to face hardships and struggles, and this fostered within me a strong empathy for the marginalized and oppressed. I firmly believe that every individual, regardless of their race or background, deserved to be treated with dignity and afforded the same opportunities. Furthermore, the principles upon which our great nation was founded, particularly the ideals enshrined in the Declaration of Independence, resonated deeply with me. The notion that all men are created equal, and that every individual possesses inherent rights that cannot be denied or compromised, formed the bedrock of my convictions. As I reflected upon the institution of slavery, I recognized that it contradicted these fundamental principles. It stood as a grave injustice and an affront to the very essence of liberty. Therefore, I took a strong stance against slavery, driven by a moral duty to rectify this great wrong and to ensure that the promises of freedom and equality extended to all Americans. In my own words, I once said, "Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves." This statement encapsulates the essence of my motivations and beliefs. I firmly believed that the shackles of slavery had to be broken, and I was committed to navigating the tumultuous path toward a more just and inclusive society. The fight against slavery was a defining chapter of my life, and I remain hopeful that the legacy of that struggle continues to inspire and guide future generations in the pursuit of justice and equality.
Your famous words, "A house divided against itself cannot stand," have become synonymous with the fight for unity and the pursuit of justice. In today's world, where divisions seem to be ever present, how can we apply this wisdom to address the challenges we face?
Indeed, the words, "a house divided against itself cannot stand," hold great relevance in our current world, as they did during my time. When I spoke those words, I was referring to the deep divide and tensions surrounding the issue of slavery. However, the sentiment behind that statement extends far beyond that particular context. It speaks to the fundamental principle that unity and cooperation are vital for the progress and well-being of any society. In today's world, where divisions seem to be prevalent, it is crucial to recognize the importance of finding common ground and working towards collective solutions. We must remember that despite our differences, we share a common humanity and a shared destiny. It is in our unity that we find strength and resilience. To address the challenges we face, we must strive for open and respectful dialogue, embracing differing viewpoints and seeking common objectives. It is through understanding and empathy that we can bridge divides and forge a path forward. I would urge individuals to reflect on the words I spoke during my time. I do not think much of a man who is not wiser today than he was yesterday. This quote underscores the significance of growth and learning in our journey towards unity and progress. We must be open to examining our own perspectives and evolving our understanding as we gain new insights. In the face of adversity and challenges, it is essential to maintain a calm and reassuring demeanor. As I once said, "With malice toward none, with charity for all." These words embody the spirit of reconciliation and the power of forgiveness, even in the most trying times. Ultimately, it is through a collective commitment to unity, understanding, and the pursuit of justice that we can address the challenges of our time. By embracing the wisdom of the past and applying it to our present circumstances, we can navigate the complexities of our world and build a brighter future for generations to come.
It's no secret that your presidency was marked by the American Civil War, a conflict that tore the nation apart. Looking back, what do you believe were the key factors that led to this devastating war, and how do you think it could have been prevented?
Reflecting on the causes and consequences of this devastating conflict is indeed an opportunity to examine the past and draw lessons for the future. The key factors that led to the Civil War were deeply rooted in the issue of slavery. The stark divide between states that supported the institution and those that sought its abolition created a profound rift within the nation. This division, fueled by economic, social, and political complexities, ultimately reached a tipping point. While the war itself was not entirely preventable given the magnitude of the tensions, I believe there were opportunities for alternative paths. One such possibility was a more effective and inclusive dialogue aimed at finding peaceful resolutions to the issues at hand. Compromises and negotiations might have allowed for a gradual phasing out of slavery without resorting to armed conflict. However, it is important to recognize that the institution of slavery was deeply ingrained in the fabric of American society. Overcoming this deeply entrenched system was no easy task, as it touched upon economic interests, social structures, and deeply held beliefs. Looking back, I believe that greater efforts could have been made to address the issue of slavery through legislation and policies aimed at promoting gradual emancipation and ensuring a just transition for all involved. The pursuit of unity and reconciliation, rather than confrontation, might have provided a different trajectory for our nation. Nonetheless, it is vital to acknowledge that the Civil War ultimately paved the way for significant societal transformations, most notably the abolition of slavery and the preservation of the Union. These outcomes, while achieved through a devastating conflict, brought about lasting changes that continue to shape the United States to this day. In contemplating the causes and consequences of the Civil War, it is crucial that we strive to learn from history. As I once said, I am a firm believer in the people. If given the truth, they can be depended upon to meet any national crisis. This statement highlights my unwavering faith in the power of truth and the wisdom of the people. It reminds us that open dialogue, understanding, and a commitment to justice are indispensable for building a stronger and more harmonious nation.
While your Emancipation Proclamation is celebrated as a significant step towards ending slavery, it has also faced criticism for its limitations. How do you respond to those who argue that the proclamation didn't go far enough in ensuring true equality for all?
It is true that the Emancipation Proclamation, issued on January 1, 1863, was a pivotal moment in our nation's history. Its purpose was to declare the freedom of enslaved individuals in the Confederate States that were in rebellion against the Union. This proclamation was a military measure, aimed at weakening the Southern economy and bolstering the Union cause. However, it is important to note that the Emancipation Proclamation did not immediately grant freedom and equality to all enslaved people. Its jurisdiction was limited to areas under Confederate control, where the federal government had limited authority. Slavery persisted in other parts of the United States until the passage of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery throughout the entire nation. Critics rightly argue that the Emancipation Proclamation did not achieve complete and immediate equality for all African Americans. It was a significant step towards ending slavery, but it fell short of ensuring full civil rights and social equality. This was a reflection of the complex political landscape of the time, where there were competing interests and significant opposition to the abolitionist cause. As a reflective individual, I acknowledge these limitations and the ongoing struggle for true equality. I firmly believed in the inherent rights and dignity of all individuals, regardless of race. In my famous Gettysburg Address, I expressed the vision of a nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. This vision extended beyond the Emancipation Proclamation and called for a broader commitment to justice and equality. While the Emancipation Proclamation may not have achieved all that was desired, it played a crucial role in shifting the narrative and creating momentum towards the eventual end of slavery. Its significance lies in the principles it represented and the moral foundation it established for future endeavors. To those who argue that the proclamation didn't go far enough, I would urge them to view it as a stepping stone, a catalyst for change. It paved the way for subsequent actions and legislation that would work towards securing the rights and liberties of all Americans. In closing, I would like to emphasize that the struggle for equality and justice is an ongoing journey. It requires the continuous dedication and efforts of individuals, communities, and the nation as a whole. I remain hopeful that with each generation, we move closer to realizing the ideals of liberty, equality, and justice for all.
Throughout history, leaders have made mistakes, and you were no exception. Is there a decision or action from your presidency that you look back on and wish you had handled differently?
One decision that weighs heavily on my mind is the suspension of habeas corpus during the Civil War. Habeas corpus is a fundamental legal principle that safeguards individual rights by preventing unlawful detention. In the face of the war's immense challenges, I made the difficult decision to suspend this cherished right in certain areas to maintain order and protect the Union. While I believed it was a necessary step to confront the threat to our nation's existence, I now recognize the impact it had on the civil liberties of our citizens. I understand the concerns raised by critics who argue that this suspension infringed upon the principles of justice and due process. In retrospect, I have grappled with the question of whether there could have been alternative measures to preserve the Union while upholding the principles that underpin our democracy. Perhaps there were other ways to address the challenges we faced without compromising the very values we sought to protect. My self-reflection on this matter highlights the complexity of leadership and the weight of decisions made during times of crisis. It serves as a reminder of the enduring importance of protecting civil liberties, even in the face of grave threats. It also reinforces the need for leaders to carefully consider the long-term consequences of their actions and to seek alternative paths when possible. I believe it is through acknowledging our mistakes and learning from them that we grow as individuals and as a society. I am grateful for the opportunity to reflect upon this decision and the lessons it has taught me.
The Gettysburg Address is regarded as one of the most iconic speeches in American history. Can you give us some insight into the process behind crafting such a powerful and memorable address?
This brief but impactful speech holds a special place in American history as it seeks to honor the sacrifices made on the battlefield and reaffirm the principles upon which our nation was founded. When I delivered the Gettysburg Address in November of 1863, our nation was in the midst of a devastating civil war. The Battle of Gettysburg had claimed the lives of many brave soldiers, and the consequences of that conflict weighed heavily on our collective conscience. It was a solemn occasion, and I felt a deep responsibility to capture the essence of the sacrifice and convey a vision for the future. In crafting the address, I engaged in a reflective and contemplative process. I drew inspiration from the principles outlined in the Declaration of Independence, which declared that all individuals are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights. It was crucial to remind our nation of these fundamental truths, especially at a time when we were grappling with the grave consequences of our divisions. I sought to encapsulate the significance of the moment and deliver a message that would resonate with the people. Through careful consideration and thoughtful word choice, I crafted a speech that sought to honor the fallen, inspire the living, and reinforce the ideals upon which our nation was founded. The brevity of the Gettysburg Address was intentional, as I believed that concise and powerful words could have a profound impact. By emphasizing the enduring principles of equality and liberty, I aimed to unite a divided nation and provide a sense of purpose and hope amidst the turmoil. The Gettysburg Address stands as a testament to the power of words and the ability to distill complex ideas into concise and resonant messages. Its significance lies not only in the context of the Civil War, but also in its timeless relevance to the ongoing pursuit of freedom and justice. As I delivered those words, I aimed to inspire the American people to continue the arduous work of preserving our union and ensuring a more perfect future. Today, I hope that the Gettysburg Address continues to inspire individuals to strive for unity, equality, and the shared values that define us as a nation.
As a leader, you were known for your ability to communicate effectively and connect with people on a profound level. What advice would you give to present-day leaders who strive to inspire and unite their communities?
Throughout my life, I have strived to be a leader who could effectively communicate with and understand the needs of the people. The challenges of my time were immense, and I sought to navigate them with wisdom and compassion. To present-day leaders who aspire to inspire and unite their communities, I would offer the following advice. First and foremost, lead by example. Your actions and character should serve as a model for others to follow. Uphold the values and principles that you wish to see in your community, and let your integrity guide your decisions. Secondly, be a compassionate listener. Take the time to truly understand the concerns and aspirations of those you serve. By showing empathy and respect, you create an environment where people feel heard and valued. Furthermore, embrace the power of unity. Recognize that diverse perspectives and backgrounds can enrich your community. Seek common ground and work towards common goals, fostering an environment of inclusivity and collaboration. Communication is paramount. Effective leaders must be able to convey their vision, goals, and values clearly and persuasively. Craft your message thoughtfully, choosing words that resonate with people's hearts and minds. Be open to dialogue and encourage open and honest communication among community members. In times of crisis or adversity, be a source of reassurance and hope. Inspire confidence in the face of challenges, acknowledging the difficulties while emphasizing the resilience and strength of the community. Provide support and encouragement, and rally people together towards a shared purpose. Lastly, never forget the power of perseverance. Leadership is not without its trials and setbacks, but it is through perseverance that we can overcome obstacles and achieve meaningful change. Stay committed to your mission, even when faced with adversity, and lead with unwavering determination. As I reflect upon my own leadership journey, I recognize that these principles guided me during my time as president. I aim to inspire and unite a divided nation, and though the road was arduous, I remained steadfast in my commitment to justice and equality. In closing, let us remember that leadership is a privilege and a responsibility. It requires strength, wisdom, and a genuine desire to serve the greater good. By embodying the qualities of compassion, integrity, unity, and effective communication, present-day leaders can inspire and unite their communities, fostering a brighter and more harmonious future for all.
Your legacy as the great emancipator is deeply intertwined with the fight for racial equality. In today's world, where racial tensions persist, how do you believe we can continue to progress towards a more inclusive and just society?
As I address the question of how we can continue to progress towards a more inclusive and just society in the face of persistent racial tensions, I am reminded of the words I spoke during my time as president. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years. The struggle for racial equality remains an ongoing journey, one that requires our collective commitment and unwavering dedication. To achieve a more inclusive and just society, we must first acknowledge the reality of racial tensions and confront the injustices that persist. Education plays a vital role in this process. It is through education that we can cultivate empathy, understanding, and a recognition of the inherent worth and dignity of every individual. By teaching the history of our nation, including its darker chapters, we can foster a deeper understanding of the consequences of racism and discrimination, and work towards rectifying past and present injustices. Furthermore, we must strive to dismantle systemic barriers and ensure equal access to opportunities for all. This means addressing disparities in areas such as education, employment, housing, and criminal justice. We must advocate for policies that promote fairness, justice, and equal treatment under the law. However, progress cannot be achieved solely through legislation and policies. It requires a shift in our collective mindset, challenging prejudices and biases that perpetuate inequality. Each of us must take personal responsibility for examining our own attitudes and actions, seeking to foster respect and dignity for every person, regardless of their race or background. Additionally, fostering open and honest dialogue is crucial. We must create spaces for difficult conversations where individuals can share their experiences, perspectives, and concerns. Through genuine listening and respectful engagement, we can bridge divides, foster understanding, and build coalitions that work towards a more inclusive and just society. Lastly, we must remember that progress is a continuous journey. It requires persistence, resilience, and a commitment to never lose sight of our goal. As I said, I am a slow walker, but I never walk back. We must stay true to our principles and strive for progress, even when faced with setbacks. It is my hope that by embracing these principles, we can continue to advance towards a more inclusive and just society. Let us draw inspiration from the ideals upon which our nation was founded, that all individuals are created equal and endowed with certain inalienable rights. Let us work together to build a future where the color of one's skin holds no bearing on their opportunities or experiences.
Throughout history, there have been various misconceptions and myths surrounding your life and presidency. Is there one particular misunderstanding or false claim that you would like to address and set the record straight on?
Addressing the misconceptions and false claims that have surrounded my life and presidency, I am reminded of the words I once spoke. You can fool all the people some of the time, and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. One persistent myth that I would like to address is the notion that I did not prioritize the preservation of the Union, and instead sought to abolish slavery at any cost. The truth is, my primary objective throughout the tumultuous years of my presidency was to uphold the Constitution and preserve the Union. While I held strong personal convictions against the institution of slavery, I recognized the complex political and social realities of my time. I understood that any measures taken to address slavery needed to be done within the bounds of the law, and in a way that could garner support from various factions. The Emancipation Proclamation, often misunderstood as an immediate and complete end to slavery, was a strategic measure taken during the Civil War. It was primarily a military order aimed at weakening the Confederacy by declaring freedom for enslaved individuals in rebel-held territories. Its impact extended beyond the immediate moment, setting the stage for the eventual passage of the 13th Amendment, which abolished slavery throughout the United States. Furthermore, it is important to note that the process of emancipation and the fight for racial equality extended beyond my presidency. The struggle for civil rights and true equality continued long after my time in office and required the dedicated efforts of many individuals and movements. I also want to address the claim that I held racist beliefs or did not view African Americans as equal citizens. While it is true that my views evolved over time, and I grappled with the complexities of race and equality, my ultimate belief was that all individuals, regardless of race, were entitled to the same fundamental rights and opportunities. I firmly believed in the Declaration of Independence's principle that all men are created equal, and I worked towards promoting a more inclusive and just society. My advocacy for the abolition of slavery and my support for African American suffrage during the Reconstruction era are evidence of my commitment to racial equality. In setting the record straight, I encourage individuals to delve into the historical context and complexities of my presidency, rather than relying solely on misconceptions and simplified narratives. My aim was not perfection, but rather progress, and I invite all to examine the historical record and the ideals that guided my actions. Thank you, David, for providing me with the opportunity to address these misconceptions. It is my hope that by clarifying these aspects of my life and presidency, we can gain a deeper understanding of the challenges faced during those turbulent times and the efforts made towards a more just and equitable society.
Mr. Lincoln, your contributions to history are immeasurable, and your wisdom continues to resonate with people around the world. Thank you for joining us today and sharing your insights. Subscribe now to join our community of lifelong learners, and never miss an enlightening conversation. Until next time, remember to seek wisdom from the past to guide us forward into the future. Be well and goodbye for now.